Harvard president. I want to play a part of what he said in Scotland today about this very issue. As soon as he landed in Scotland, he was asked about this.
Media Matters hires him. Then Media Matters says his lawyers are crap, and they stink over there. They're slow, and they're expensive, and idiots. The new legal team in April worked to reach a settlement with X's lawyers. X demanded they retract their report, pay X all the money left in the group's bank account, and shut down. Now, although you acknowledge that job loss is not normally irreparable harm, because everybody can claim that, right? If everybody who loses jobs says I'm irreparably harmed, then everybody can file an injunction to stop their employer from firing them. It's ridiculous. Why do government employees get to do that? Media Matters versus Mark Elias. We've got a big division brewing in the Democratic Party, and it is delicious. You can see the New York Times is reporting on this, saying that Media Matters, you know who they are, that attack group. They flip people out of context and post it on like they're like fascists. They love Hitler or whatever. And they have been very effective, I think, in a long line of campaigns and elections. But now they're struggling big time. And in their litigation with Elon Musk, they went and hired Mark Elias. And you remember him and his Democracy Docket organization and all of them, because he used to work for Hillary Clinton as part of Perkins Coie before he left that firm. Of course, Trump went after Perkins Coie with an executive order, and they were the same Democrat law firm that represented Hillary Clinton. And then the law firm Perkins Coie, where Mark Elias worked, also had Michael Sussman, who also worked for Perkins Coie, go meet with the FBI, feed them the fake Steele dossier, and essentially generate the Steele dossier because the law firm had a third-party contractor called Fusion GPS, and Fusion GPS went and got Christopher Steele, who wrote the Trump PP tape. So that's that guy's background and lineage. And now he, in the aftermath of that scam, was hired to represent Media Matters. And now there's a falling out, and it's great. Here's what it looks like. Media Matters, you know who they are. A nonprofit group that played a key role in liberal politics for a long time, now struggling to withstand months of legal assaults by Trump's allies, aka Elon Musk, offering a glimpse of what might be in store for even well-funded targets of actual litigation. The organization, which is funded by some of the Democratic's biggest donors, is now $15 million in legal fees owed over the past 20 months to defend itself against lawsuits by Elon Musk. How do they like it? In addition to investigations by Trump and the FTC and Republican state attorneys general, who are all investigating them for serious problems. Now, the group, Media Matters, has slashed the size of its staff and scrambled to raise even more cash from skittish donors, according to documents and interviews with 11 people, as the organization fights to survive. Now, that might not be enough. Media Matters tried to settle with Musk by offering concessions, but the sides were far apart and the talks fizzled. Even when the group is triumphed in court, Mr. Musk has appealed and filed a new case elsewhere. Oh, God. And it's going to be billionaire. That sounds awesome. Like, I don't care if it's food. As a last resort, it is considered shuttering, according to interviews, Media Matters, bye-bye. Now, publicly, the group has said that it has no plans to close and that it is committed to defending it. Unlike some major media entities that have recently caved, we're going to fight, we're going to take a carry on a mission. All right, good luck. Even as the battle continues, Media Matters stands as an example of how legal warfare is a problem. Give me a break. They indicted Trump 4 times. They tried to throw him off the ballot. Then they tried to bankrupt him in Tishy's court. So, disparity. The group says it dialed back its criticism of Musk after, like, oh crap, we can't just keep making things up about people. They also have been frozen out by some allies, and they faced plummeting staff morale, rising infighting, and security concerns. Now, all that has proved quite a challenge for this group. They raised, look at these numbers, man, $250 million.
The next 26 days will make millionaires in 2025. These are the top 3 stocks to buy in a turbulent market.
Underscores the serious harms that can be inflicted when Trump goes hard. It leaves targets facing a tricky choice. Do we spend or fight back? ABC News and CBS News are settling, and law firms are also doing the same. In fact, when Harvard refused to comply, boom, $2.2 billion was withheld. And donors are also freaking out.
When are we going to bitch about what they're doing to our fruits and vegetables now? We can't even eat healthy because they're poisoning the healthy food too. When are we going to hold our government and our state officials accountable for lying to me and you? Milk doesn't do the body good, and you don't eat meat for protein. But this is what these assholes lied to us and said.
until Trump.
We need to investigate the CDC. We need to investigate the FBI. We need to investigate the CIA. We need to investigate the FDC.
Musk purchased Twitter and had begun removing content. They zoomed in on him. In November,
The FDA.
Piece showing that ads on X were anti-Semitic and pro-Nazi, but that was basically a fake story. The report, along with the post, contributed to an exodus.
But when any of these organizations be investigated, we could never let them investigate themselves, and we could never trust our government to investigate these entities. We, the people, had to put our own agency together and investigate these assholes and get rid of all these organizations, because all these
The suit was quickly followed by investigations.
These organizations consist of a bunch of fucking criminals. You cannot trust none of these organizations because you cannot trust our government or our government officials.
Now, after Mr. Trump retook the White House, Brock was brought back into media matters, but he clashed.
Donald Trump is even having a problem with his own fucking government, his own fucking state officials.
X filed lawsuits even against them in other countries. Like, I'll see you in Singapore, we'll see you in Ireland, and we'll just keep going. So we'll see you out there. In early February, frustrated by what some of Media Matters saw as the high cost and slow pace of their lawyers at the Elias Law Group, okay, so they hired him. So he left for his voice. I think they so he starts his own firm. Media Matters hires him. Then Media Matters says his lawyers are crap and they stink over there. They're slow and they're expensive and idiots. The advocacy group began transitioning the X cases to different law firms. Okay, there's trouble in paradise in Democrat hellscapes. An Elias lawyer notified the group that he'd owed $4 million. They're like, oh, you're moving your cases to another law firm? We're not going to be billing you for those? Well, just so you know, we've done an accounting Media Matters. Here's your invoice, $4 million. But we understand, they said, somebody wrote this, Ezra Reese, the chair of Mark Elias' political law group. He wrote an email to Media Matters, two people, and their lead fundraiser. He says, well, talking about Elon, we understand this case has been and remains very difficult for everyone involved, as that was Musk's intention when he brought it. And so you owe $4 million, said Mr. Reese, but, we can wipe away about half of that $4 million of the unpaid, as long as you give us $2.25 million within 1 week. We need 2.25 in 1 week, or if you do not want to make that payment plan with us, said Mark Elias' law firm, towards Media Matters, was great. Reese wrote his firm would expect full payment of the original amount, which would be $4 million, so 2.25 or else it's 4. You got 1 week to decide, let us know. Or else we're going to go pens down, is what he wrote, he quotes, and take steps to withdraw from the case by the end of the month. So now I'm wondering if Media Matters gave these emails to New York Times just so they can smear Mark Elias, or, rub his nose in it, and they said, we're going to go pens down. Now, the ultimatum did not sit well inside Media Matters. Somebody, Miss Bonner, responded to Mark Elias' team. She wrote this with 2 exclamation points. Miss Bonner's not happy. Says, you must be kidding. This is how you treat people with compliance for 16 years and are friends? Yeah, it's Democrats, man. They're lunatics. They'll throw their grandmother out. It's like, well, she's not wearing a mask. Well, she's your mother. Yeah, but she could be infected. And so she has to go over the bridge. Throw right over the bridge. They're Democrats. They don't care. They're lunatics. So Mark Elias is like, you're dead to me. Give me my money or else. In a statement to the New York Times, Mark Elias' law firm, so somebody leaked the emails to the Times. They reached out to Mark's people. Mark Reese defended the firm's work. He says, we're great lawyers. We're not slow and dumb. We help with a lot of matters, including efforts to shut down the state attorney's things, and these are victories, and they're going to help Media Matters. Stand up to the right thing. Now, while Elias Law Group continued to represent Media Matters, the advocacy group shifted much of its defense to other law firms. The new legal team in April worked to reach a settlement with X's lawyers. X demanded they retract their report, pay X all the money left in the group's bank account, and shut down. Yeah, no, we're happy to settle with you. You want to hear our terms? Perfect. Full retraction, every single dollar you have, and then a total dissolution of your business entity. How's that for a settlement? Let us know what you think. We'll be here. Media Matters proposed explaining its methodology in its report, saying, well, how about we just explain ourselves? We don't care about your explanation. Close up now. In May, the FTC launched an investigation into whether Media that is great. Into whether Media Matters and roughly a dozen other watchdog groups illegally colluded to dissuade companies. And I feel that. I get so tired of all the anti-Semitism trends. Like, everybody's anti-Semitic. Okay, blah, 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 blah. And so Elon, they call anti-Semitic, he's going to bankrupt your whole company. You're just gone. So thanks for that. What'd you call me? You're dead. You're gone. So it's just like, could you imagine doing that? Beautiful thing. I love this country. Inside Media Matters, the FTC investigation was seen as an example of the Trump administration doing the bidding of Musk and blah, blah, blah. In June, Media Matters sued the Hall, and now they're free. They got complete torrent of concern, threatening messages, which of course we never endorse and are criminal in most cases, requiring the group to hire an outside security firm. All that's not appropriate, but it's probably coming from Democrats. The memo, prepared for the group's lawyers and reviewed by the Times, indicated that allies of the group have pulled back communications. Nobody wants to work with them anymore. Mr. Mandel, in a meeting with Connecticut this spring, suggested people raising money for Media Matters should consider shutting down. They're all dangerous. Yeah, maybe they should stop calling people anti-Semites and faking stories, as they've been doing for years. And now the consequences are here, and the chickens are coming home to roost. Now, simultaneously with all of this, we see the Democrats are losing even more funding and more court cases. This came down out of the District of Columbia in the case of these USAID organizations against the president. American Foreign Service Association, meaningless. Personal Services Contractor Association, okay, meaning entities set up to represent government bureaucrats. Here is what the judge said in another victory for the president.
Alright guys, before we hop in today's video, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much to the ones who've been subscribed.
USAID. 3 represented employees or contractors. The American Foreign Service represents foreign service members, so they've got basically unions. The American Federation of Government Employees represents USAID civil servants, and the PSA represents personal service contractors. Okay, so 3 separate, basically, unions who are representing all of these government public civil servants. Right? We say how important they are to all of our lives. The 4th organization is called Oxfam. It's a humanitarian group, and it sees its mission as combating global poverty, inequality, and injustice, which is just incredible. Like, that's your mission. You can just say...
So, on today's show, we're going to talk about Hakeem Jeffries, because, of course, he's always lying. And he, of course, was guaranteed his lying ways. And recently did an interview with CNN. And in this interview, he actually gets called out a little bit. I was actually kind of shocked that CNN even pushed back even a little bit. Usually they just let, Democrats spew out their lies constantly. 24/7.
We have fake news, and we got our Congress and our government officials.
Was zero pushback, but this time we got a little bit of pushback, and it didn't seem like he liked it very much. So with that being said, let's start.
House Republicans have been a complete and total
Are not to be fucking trusted. They lie too fucking much. When are we gonna start holding people alive?
failure for the American people. They have no credible track record of success. That's why House Republicans are afraid of the voters in 2000.
People in Congress accountable for fucking lying. When are we gonna hold them accountable is the question, because they're lying too much and allowing them to lie and continue getting away with lies. We're gonna continue to be robbed by these fucking criminals.
26 in the midterm elections, and then trying to cheat to win. Cheat to win. But this is what they redraw lines. It is completely.
Just to give you guys a little bit of context before we get too deep into this, Hakeem Jeffries is talking about how Trump wants Texas to do some redistricting, right, to possibly gain 5 more Republican seats. And so he's saying that cheating, but in reality, both parties do. As a matter of fact, they've done it quite a number of times. They did it back in 2016, I believe, in North Carolina and Virginia. Changed the map. So both parties do it, but of course it's going to make it sound and seem as if only Republicans are doing this, but in reality, Democrats have done it 1,000 times.
Completely and totally unprecedented to engage in mid-decade redistricting. That is only being done because House Republicans in Texas and beyond know they have no track record of success. The lines for Texas have already been drawn. And in fact, they are already heavily gerrymandered. They have been ordered by Donald Trump, who is their political puppet master, to try to do everything possible to avoid a free and fair election. That's what this is all about in Texas.
We a bunch of assholes. We allow these assholes to constantly lie to us and get away with fucking lying. Both fucking parties consist of liars. Nothing but nothing but a bunch of fucking liars. When are we gonna realize these people need to be fucking fired because they do not listen to what the fucking people want? They do what the fuck these assholes do what the fuck they want to do and say fuck the people that pay their fucking salaries. I do not want to pay a fucking liar.
Lines that endanger.
I want all these assholes fired for lying so we can stop all this fucking lying and get down to common fucking sense for a change.
Their Republican incumbents.
So it sounds like you think you can get back a majority, even if they succeed in Texas.
We are going to be successful regardless of what they do in Texas. But the principle of free and fair elections is one that we should fight for. And these Republicans are trying to disenfranchise millions of voters in Texas as part of a scheme to rig the midterm elections.
Now we know that there's talk now among Democrats responding in kind, including in California. Of the 5 seats, we are hearing about this. Are you supportive of this effort in California, changing the lives of California to respond to what's going on in Texas?
I'm going to let the governor
watch how he turns, into word salad galore. When asked about Democrats doing the exact same thing, this whole terrible, good, very bad thing, he turns into the word salad galore. But check it out.
California speak for himself, people of California, as well as the leaders of the California delegation. But in my view, all options are on the table in terms of making sure that there are fair maps throughout the country. People of Texas are at risk of not having fair maps. We have a responsibility of making sure that we look at every single state of the union and do what we can to ensure that we maximize fairness in those jurisdictions.
Wouldn't that be a risk, though, in California, because you have to go to the ballot initiative to change the law? Is that a risk if Democrats go down that road?
That's an open question. It's my understanding that the best and brightest lawyers in the country are looking at every single aspect of what's possible in these states throughout America.
In New York, I've talked to some members of your delegation, Democrats who want New York to change the maps, try to add seats, Democratic seats in New York. Would you support that effort in your state?
Let me just simply say the maps in New York are not as fair as they could be.
Because that sounds to me like you're open to thinking.
I look forward to having a conversation with the governor about how do we ensure that New York maps are as fair as possible in an environment where you've got extreme MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump doing everything they can to undermine the will of the voters and undermine the principle of free and fair elections across the country.
Have you talked to the governor?
The map is fair. I love how you try to express fair, right? To make it sound and seem like something that is very good and kind, but in reality, it's just rigging the system. Right? And the map isn't fair, so we just want to make sure it's fair. Yeah. Fair so that more Democrats win, right? That's the only time it would ever be fair, as long as more Democrats win.
Governor, again, about changing the maps before the midterms.
I speak to the governor regularly, and at some point I look forward to sitting down with her sooner rather than later, once we hit the August district court period.
You just accused Republicans of rigging the election by changing the lines in the middle of the decade. Wouldn't Democrats be doing the same thing?
It's important to understand that in Texas, there's already ongoing litigation that the map that currently exists violates the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, since there's already litigation that the map is bad, why are they angry that they may change the map? See, this is the paper now, he just got himself into. If the map is bad, if there's litigation against the current map, why is it bad that Trump says, hey, let's change it? Isn't that what you want? Now, he's talking out of both sides of his head. On one side, it's like, no, Trump can't change the map. Trump should change the map. They shouldn't do anything. But then on the other side, it's like, well, the map is bad. There's already litigation against it. Like, goodness gracious, man, you can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up.
That's litigation that we think we're on the verge of winning. What we're committed to doing as Democrats in New York, in California, in New Jersey, across the country, let's make sure that the congressional maps are as fair as possible.
Is New Jersey not an option that you're looking at too?
I think that if you have a situation where Republicans are unleashing every malignant scheme possible to try to undermine the principle of free and fair elections and to disenfranchise millions of people in Texas and beyond, that it's incumbent upon all of us to take a close look at how do we ensure that the congressional map writ large is as fair as possible in advancing midterm elections.
But you don't think this is the same thing as what the Republicans are going to this is? Because of what?
Because we believe in the principle of fair maps. Understand something, Mono.
That's the part I was waiting for. I was waiting for it. So he gets confronted like, hold on, wait, you're doing the exact same thing as Republicans. Isn't that the same thing? No, it's not. Like, he didn't even let him finish, first off. Didn't even let him finish the sentence. No, it's not. Well, why is it? Well, because, we believe in fairness. Of course, they're talking to a 5-year-old.
I mean, five, Timmy, y'all do five,
from Tommy over there. No, I didn't steal it. Well, I see his pencil on your desk. I took it. Well, isn't that stealing? No, because I believe in fairness, and I didn't have the same color pencil that he had.
There you go, that believe shit again. There you go with that believe shit again. That's an excuse for not knowing what you're doing. All believers are literally liars, but they just don't know. The truth is the truth. You can't believe the truth. You gotta know the truth. There's no truth in.
No, it's not the same thing because I believe in fairness. No, Judge, I didn't vote.
There's no truth in the middle of the word believe. There's only lie. So if you are a believer, look in the middle of the word to see yourself for yourself.
I just believe in fairness, and it was just unfair that he got to take up more air than me.
Believe.
This is so stupid. It's so stupid. I gotta run that back. I have to play that again. I absolutely have to play that again.
If you have a situation where it's scheme possible and to take a close look at how do we ensure is as fair as possible in advancing midterm
But you don't think this is the same thing as what the Republicans are going to this is? Because of what?
Because we believe in the principle of fair maps. Understand something, Mark.
Statement is just fundamentally
No, it's not the same because we believe in fair maps. It's all good. Goodness gracious, bro. Goodness gracious. Just when you thought these folks couldn't sound any sillier. They managed to prove you wrong. He sounds like a 5-year-old. No, I didn't steal the pencil because I believe in fairness and I didn't have the same color. So now it's fair. You got to use it, so now I can, and now it's fine. What? And I love how he got like snarky with them, like, no, it's not. Like, they need to let him finish. Absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. One time's in
But the
and
truth.
actually provides
Nah,
some
bitch.
pushback against
The
it.
truth is the truth. It ain't your truth, it ain't my truth. It is what it is. But I want to know why you saying it like that, kid.
Absolutely love it. But I just wanted to show y'all that because I thought it was
Because if it's the truth, it's gonna make sense. No matter what, if it hurts your feelings or not, it's gonna make sense if it's the truth. But if it ain't the truth, it ain't gonna make no motherfucking sense.
You guys hit that like button for the algorithm. I'll greatly appreciate it. Stay safe out there. Peace and love.
I'm out. Right, thanks. Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here. Subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews.
I'm the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security.
The Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.
Overseas, working on his agenda.
Jackie Heinrich joins us live from Edinburgh, Scotland, with the latest. Jackie.
Hey, good morning to you guys. The president said as he was leaving the White House, the chances of a trade deal with the EU are about 50-50 or maybe less. But he also suggested that's not quite as dim as it sounds, explaining that he would have put Japan's chances of a deal at about 25%, but they kept making concessions and they were able to work something out. He confirmed that he will be meeting with the president of the EU Commission, and he had some nice things to say about her.
Ursula will be here, highly respected woman. So we look forward to that. We'll have numerous executives that we're meeting with. We're going to be meeting with a lot of people. A lot of people will be staying in Turnberry, and then we're going to Aberdeen, which is the oil capital of Europe, actually.
If no deal is reached, the president says he will impose 30% tariffs on EU imports on August 1st. If it comes to that, the EU is ready to retaliate with 30% tariffs on more than $100 billion worth of U.S. goods, including bourbon, soybeans, and airplanes. European diplomats reportedly expect to land on a 15% baseline tariff before that deadline, after a plan for a 10% baseline mirroring this arrangement we have with the UK was reportedly scuttled. Trump told reporters that the EU is going to need to buy down their tariffs from that 30%.
We stupid. We let criminals negotiate deals with our fucking money. Motherfuckers that's been lying to us. We still giving them a chance to live their face up. Oh, that's fucking stupid as stupid. But these fucking you stupid is gonna finish taking for your fucking self. Wow. It just don't make no fucking sense. But we allow this shit to go. Ain't nothing I can say or do. All I can do is just tell the truth. The truth that makes sense. Wow. And I know for a fact, we are not just stupid. We're not. Wow. How did we allow this to happen? My question. And why are we allowing it to continue to happen? Is my question. We know who the fucking liars are, but we continue allowing the liars to still have a fucking job. Tell me, how much sense does that make? We don't live in no world, no make believe, no world of understand, no world of no faith, no world of no fucking hope. We live in the world of the truth makes sense to do. Anything else is bullshit. If it don't make sense to you, somebody's lying to you. It ain't rocket fucking science. It's almost like we don't want to know who's lying. We just want to go along and get along and don't ask no questions. That's stupid. That's stupid. And you're not stupid. You're just allowing somebody to teach you to be stupid. Wow. Wow. Again. Wow. It just don't make no sense.